Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, January the 20th already in the new year of 2026, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Well, it seems like there are a lot of birthdays going around here, around TWT, and let's see, Emily's birthday was today, as a matter of fact. Sean's birthday was last week, and yours truly's birthday is tomorrow. And we celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday birthday yesterday around the country, MLK Day. King Day was founded at the University of Kentucky in 1973, 13 years before the federal holiday was established. The Lexington celebration is one of the longest running MLK Day observances in the nation. And in my opinion, you can't erase who he was and what he was and what he has meant to this nation. If you're on the fence out there about Dr. King because of your beliefs or because you're listening to someone out of ignorance, or if you're just in need of a history lesson, you should read some of his speeches. In particular, read The Drum Major Instinct, which is my favorite. Read Remaining Awake Through a Great Revolution, and also the speech, I See the Promised Land. There are many others, meaningful, educational, and with lessons on peace and love, and not hate and division. MLK Day, a day of peace. Our G-list guest today is John Mark McGaha. John is an acclaimed singer, actor, storyteller, and multi-instrumentalist whose work spans concert performance, theater, television, and music direction. He headlines concerts across the country with Artist Lounge Live. He starred in audience favorite productions, including Signed, Sealed, Delivered. John Mark McGaha sings Stevie Wonder. I'd like to hear that. Sunday at Christmas. John Mark McGaha sings Stevie Wonder again. He also sings Unforgettable by Nat King Cole and does a Nat King Cole Christmas. We look forward to having that conversation with John Mark. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the consulting firm of Best Girl, Link. Let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the round table and meet with Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker and see what they've got for us this morning. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing just great. That's
Good.
great. We're getting Michael Walker on here too. So
Okay.
What's happening in your world there, Barbara?
Well, I'm going to join you in offering happy birthday wishes belated to Sean and my great nephew Carlos celebrated their birthday on last Friday. Emily's today. My great nephew Mozzie, who's my heart, birthday's also today, and yours tomorrow. So lots of birthdays to celebrate. Happy birthday to you guys.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Michael.
Yeah. Well, good morning, TG and Barbara. Tom, let me say happy birthday to you. You know, there's a lot of gangsters that was born in January. Steve Harvey's birthday was the 17th of January, Muhammad Ali, the 17th, and none other than Alfonso Capone was born on January 17th.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I wasn't on the 17th then.
There are a lot of January birthdays. Several of my family members, still others celebrating toward the end of the month. So lots of birthdays.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of things going on quite naturally, unfortunately, up in Minnesota. And there's a guy by the name of Jake Lang. He's a supremacist, and he's one of these guys that got pardoned in January 6th as a defendant for, rioting the Capitol. Well, over this past weekend, he pulled together a rally to go into Minnesota to confront the protesters. And he quickly found himself overwhelmed by hundreds of counter protesters that had backed him up against City Hall and pelted him with eggs, water balloons, and what have you, and they drowned him out. Now, he is a known white supremacist. Ironically, two young black men went to his rescue and escorted him through the crowd and into a waiting SUV.
Wow.
And it was caught online, and a lot of people started to talk about the fear that was in his eyes and all of this type of stuff. Some say the tears coming from him and what have you. And out of all the stuff he's done, it was two young black men that took care of him and got him out of there. The bad thing about it is he later got on social media and said that he had been nearly ripped from limb to limb, and saying, I was just literally lynched by an anti-white mob of liberals and illegal immigrants. I'm at the hospital now getting staples in my skull. And then he called on President Donald Trump to send in the National Guard.
Wow.
Yeah.
You wonder, what make people do that?
Hate, Michael. That's what make people do
That's
that.
a good question.
Hate and ignorance, I think, is what drives people to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it really is.
Let me add one here. 1948. You guys remember Ed Sullivan? I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
Ed Sullivan, he was stiff. He didn't have any singing ability or any of that. But in 1948, Ed Sullivan shook Nat King Cole's hand on live television. The sponsors threatened to flee. How could he dare shake this black man's hand on national television? He was thoroughly criticized. So you know what Ed Sullivan did? He shook his hand again.
Yeah.
And again. And again for the next 23 years.
Right.
Ed Sullivan couldn't sing. He couldn't dance. He wasn't charming. He stood stiffly under the lights. He spoke in a halting monotone, and he always looked slightly uneasy in his suit. But critics say he had the warmth of a plank of wood. But they missed the point, because Ed Sullivan changed American culture more deeply than almost anyone in the television industry, not through talent, but through a stubborn, unyielding refusal to bend on his dignity. It was a variety show that he had. It was something different every week. Comics, acrobats, Broadway singers, opera, circus acts, and so on and so forth. And from the beginning, Ed Sullivan did something almost no one else would do. He booked black performers. This was in 1948. He booked Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, Pearl Bailey, Lena Horne, Duke Ellington, Count Basie. He shook hands, he kissed cheeks, he talked warmly on camera. He treated them as stars. That basic humanity enraged the sponsors. Southern affiliates refused to air his episodes. Advertisers demand he stop fraternizing, and letters poured in accusing him of corruption and indecency. But Sullivan refused. When he kissed Pearl Bailey on the cheek in 1952, the sponsors exploded, but he didn't apologize. He booked her again. In 1956, he introduced Elvis Presley, music rooted in black culture, into white living rooms. In 1964, he introduced the Beatles to America, but he never abandoned black artists while elevating white ones. James Brown, the Supremes, the Temptations, the Jackson 5. But it was inevitable that integration television became normal. And it happened because one stiff, awkward man refused to segregate his stage. He wasn't cool, he wasn't flashy. He wasn't beloved for charisma, but he was decent. And sometimes decency, practiced consistently without compromise, changes everything. He shook Nat King Cole's hand. Sponsors objected. He did it again for the next 23 years. That is integrity.
Yes, it
If
is.
you think about the things that happened today, Barbara, you asked me if I'd had the meeting that we've been discussing, and you think about people who have run for cover because so-and-so told them to stop talking about DEI.
Right.
And here's what Ed Sullivan, and this is how he responded. So
yeah, I remember watching Ed Sullivan on Sunday night. You know, we gathered around the TV knowing that he could possibly have someone black booked for the show that week. And that's the first time I remember seeing black people on TV was on Ed Sullivan show performing. Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
In a meaningful role.
Right.
In a role of equality.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Anybody, you guys got anything else? We go
I do. I want to talk about Dr. Gladys West. I don't know if you all are familiar with her. I was not very familiar with the name, but Dr. Gladys West, she passed away this past weekend at the age of 95, but she was the mathematician whose groundbreaking work made GPS possible. I did not know that. She's a black woman born in Ditwitty County, spent years calculating precise models of Earth shapes at the Naval Surface Warfare Center. Her mathematical work became the backbone of the global positioning system, as we all know today as GPS. Wow. So our salutes to Dr. Gladys West and condolences to her family in her passing.
Now, when did she create it?
It doesn't give us a year she created it, Michael, but she was 95 years old. She'd been working on it for years and no one else could solve the problem. And she does. I have to go back and do the research and find out exactly what year it was that she actually started her invention.
Wow. Amazing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You know, it's our negotiator in chief now, the doctor that treated Dick Cheney has approached Congress and asked that they do a congressional inquiry into the fitness of the president. And he's saying that, you know, the fact that he has taken this approach with Denmark to try to take the Netherlands, and then most recently tied his action to the fact that he wasn't awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And he's saying, for somebody to do that, there's got to be some cognitive issues going on in there. And you notice the lady from Venezuela came up that actually won the Nobel Peace Prize and gave him her medallion and stuff, and he accepted it on TV, sitting there in a frame, grinning like he had won something, you know, and the people that organize and award the Nobel Peace Prize say you can't transfer that,
right?
You can't accept it. It still is written, and it's to the person that it was awarded to, and he's mad about that. But he somehow ties in taking over Greenland with the Nobel Peace Prize.
And he's making a huge mistake. You know, he's going against NATO, and you know, he's putting all of our lives in jeopardy by doing that. Again, the man's, I don't think he's coherent at all. He has some mental issues for certain, in addition to some physical ailments.
Yeah. I am really concerned about the way he's going about this deal with Greenland, you know, trying to take it from Denmark. The thing about it is we already have an agreement with them that we can build military bases and have access to all of that we want to do. His claim is taking it so from a standpoint of being strategically prepared if China or Russia were to come. Well, Greenland is part of a NATO country and part of the NATO alliance in which the U.S. is supposed to be the leader. So how, if you're the leader of an organization like this, how do you turn around and go against your own? And then you're now going to tax the other countries that speak out against it. He's trying to use economic blackmail to get his way, and it's causing a lot of issues.
You know, Michael, he's talking about pulling out of NATO and starting his own peace board that he's going to be president of. He's inviting other countries to join at the cost of, I think, $2 billion each, but they don't have any vote. They don't have any really say so in this peace board that he's putting together, unless he agrees with whatever their vote is. And also, he has to prove that if they can be a member. The man, again, he's losing his mind. I don't understand how Congress is, and the Supreme Court and everyone else is allowing him to do these things. We're all in jeopardy as a result of the actions he's taken and his I'm going to say crazy actions. Yeah, I think the best way to put it, because he's making some crazy moves right now.
Yep. Michael?
How about the national championship last night?
Oh, it was special, wasn't it?
Go Indiana.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes, it was.
You got to give Miami credit as well. I mean,
they played great.
They played well, and I almost felt bad for them, but I was looking. When I was in school and blah, 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 up until a certain time, Indiana used to get beat 66-0, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to get,
just 2 years ago, they didn't really have a good team. I mean,
schedule, you just already counted that as a win.
Yeah.
You know, so good for them.
Just 2 years ago, they really didn't have much of a team. I mean, they were the bottom of their division, I think, and so for them to come back and win a national championship, 2 years on this coach, and he didn't have any 5 stars on the team. They,
five stars. Most teams have 20 or 30.
Right.
They asked him at the end of the game, how was he going to celebrate? He said he was going to drink a beer.
They asked him that at the end of the game that they played last week, and he said, "I'm a crack open my beer. Is how I'm gonna celebrate." And so last night he said he was gonna drink a beer. It's kind of funny. Everybody was waiting to see if he was gonna say "crack open my beer." But have you guys heard their? Have you heard their battle cry? Have you heard them? Their battle cry. It goes, "Who, yeah." That's what they said.
Excuse me.
But it's ironic that this is their first Heisman Trophy winner in school history, I think. First time ever to win a national championship. And I think it was the first time winning the Big Ten conference, I think, since maybe the 1940s or somewhere back then. And so, it's funny that all these players and some of the players that made big plays for them came from JMU, or what's considered mid-major programs.
Right.
And to your point, Barbara and Tom, Fernando said we didn't have any 5 stars on the team. We're a bunch of misfits, is what he said.
Right.
But if you look at at their history, I mean, it's pretty amazing, because they were never any good. I mean,
no.
They were a team that, Alabama would play before they played Tennessee or somebody, just kind of a warm-up thing.
Right.
Would score a bunch of points on them. So good for them.
Yeah, they used to be the pushover team, but not anymore. And this is the 3rd year, I think, that someone from the Big Ten has won the national championship. Used to, the SEC used to own the national championship, but 3 years running, Big Ten has won it. So NIL, I think, changed a lot of that.
Well, not only NIL, but the transfer portal. Because
that's true.
In the past, when you had these schools, say let's just say the SEC schools, because for about 10 to 15 years, SEC dominated, and it'll be LSU that win, Florida win, Auburn win, Alabama win, and then Georgia win.
Right.
But see, what used to happen is those schools had the luxury of being able to stack players.
Right.
Because
Right.
you would get players that may not even be starters, but be seniors, and they get drafted to the NFL.
Right.
And so you had players stacked up like 2-3 deep, so you
Mm-hmm.
didn't lose a drop off. Now,
Right.
because of transfer portals, those players that are third string, they're like, I'm not going to sit here on third string. I'm going over here so I can play. And so
Right.
now that brought in a lot more parity, I think.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I think so as well. And, it's just a different ball game today.
Yes, it is.
When they introduce the teams, they'll say so-and-so at right tackle, transfer from Virginia.
Right.
So-and-so at right guard, transfer from Washington.
Right.
And some of them they say, and this is his 7th year playing college football.
I know.
He been
I know. Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah. I think TJ Finley's getting ready to play his 7th year, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I
Played
was
at
just
Auburn?
about to say.
Yes.
Yeah, TJ Finley is going into his 7th year. And, Trinidad Shambliss is having trouble getting the 6th year. He needs to go talk to TJ Finley.
He can
TJ
tell us
Finley
how to
got
do
it
it.
down.
Right. He's doing
Right.
something right.
You guys got anything else before we go to Sean? Let's go to Sean. She's got a minute for us, and we'll come back with our G-List guest.
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute. This year's Martin Luther King Jr. Day came and went a little differently, and people noticed. After facing criticism from civil rights groups, President Trump issued an MLK Day proclamation Monday evening, hours after the holiday had already been underway. Traditionally, presidents acknowledge Dr. King ahead of time and often participate in commemorative events, and that just didn't happen here. Instead, the president spent the day at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. The late proclamation praised Dr. King's legacy and referenced the declassification of documents related to his assassination. Notably, the proclamations wasn't shared on the White House or the president's social media accounts. Those platforms focused on immigration enforcement actions and the college football championship happening that night. Bernice King, Dr. King's daughter, responded by reminding Americans what honoring her father truly looks like. Not just remembrance, but action. She called for advocating against state-sanctioned violence and standing up for the dignity of all people. So yes, a proclamation was issued, but for many, the question wasn't whether it came, but when, how, and what honoring Dr. King really means. In the year 2026, unfortunately, that's the moment we're in. Anywho, happy birthday to our communicator and to our chief check writer, Miss Emily Hendrick and Mr. Tom Gossam. Happy birthday to you both. Have fun. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute.
I'd like to read something from the chat. Becky Davis Gibson. Becky Davis is from Auburn. She lives in Tampa, I think. I played football with her brother, and her dad was our defensive coordinator for the longest. And she says, Dionne Warwick, first time I ever saw her was on Ed Sullivan. Also, my father was on Ed Sullivan. He was a celebrity who was asked to stand up in the audience. Quote, in our audience tonight is Paul Davis, Coach of the Year in the SEC. That's what Ed Sullivan said about Coach Davis. That's great. Yeah, Coach Davis. I liked Coach Davis. He was cool. We were in practice one day, and I was a freshman, so they would bring the freshmen over to practice against the varsity. And we had a guy named Ken Higdon who was a freshman. He was playing quarterback. And we ran an option, and Higdon pitched that ball to me, and man, there was a crease, and I shot through that crease and ran about 40 yards for a touchdown, and I was excited. I was jumping up and down. Coach Davis was not happy because it was the first team defense. the defense was not happy. And I learned then that as a freshman, you don't show up to first team defense. The next time I got the ball, it was no fun, believe me.
They made you pay for it, Tom.
They did. Thank you, Becky.
Well, Tom, let me ask you the question. Was Coach Davis mad at you, or was he mad at his defense, or both?
He was mad at his defense, but he took it out on me. How dare you run a touchdown on the first team defense?
They should have stopped you. That was their job.
Thank you for that, Becky. So let's go to our G list. Hollywood has the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. And our G list guest today is John Mark McGaha. John Mark McGaha is an acclaimed singer, actor, storyteller, and multi-instrumentalist whose work spans concert performance, theater, television, and music direction. He headlines concerts across the country with Artist Lounge Live. He's starring in audience favorite productions, including Signed, Sealed, Delivered, where John Mark McGaha sings Stevie Wonder. Someday at Christmas, he sings Stevie Wonder again. Unforgettable, he sings Nat King Cole, and does a Nat King Cole Christmas. There's a lot of theater and performance credits, and so we'll just get into it with John. Let's welcome John Mark McGaha. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning. Good morning. And happy early birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Better than I deserve, as folks say.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, let's see, Barbara, since you know Mr. McGaha, we'll let you start off with a question.
Thank you. I want to say thanks so much for joining us this morning, John Mark, and congratulations on your career. You've done an excellent job. I knew you before you were born, so I am so very proud of you. And of course, I know your entire family and know the musical background that you came from. But at what age did you realize? I know your mother is an acclaimed musician and singer. Your sister's into music. Your dad sang. Your grandfather sang. At what age did you realize you want to follow in their footsteps and also pursue a music career?
That's a great question. I don't think I ever really chose if it makes any sense. And I mean that it was what we did.
Mm-hmm.
Music was always in the house, and my mom was a music teacher. And so we were always singing. There was always a piano around. I started taking piano when I was 4 years old. And so, it was just what we did. It was who I was. And I'm kind of grateful for that. Because it wasn't like I was forced into it. It was really like the discernment of my mom and dad, and them just recognizing that I had a gift, and that and they just begin to invest in it. And so it's always been who I am. I don't ever recall any part of my life that was absent of music, and I'm super grateful for that. Ironically, Nat King Cole, the same way. He started taking piano at the age of 4 years old from his mama.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
His mama was his only music teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
Nat King Cole came to Birmingham in the big segregation days, and it didn't turn out very well. We talked about Ed Sullivan and how great things were. When Nat King Cole came, man, the audience went crazy. The women went crazy. Particular white women went crazy, and they ran Nat King Cole out of town.
Matter of fact, a guy got on stage and started to beat him up real bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it was bad. It was at the Botwell Auditorium.
Oh my goodness.
Which is right there in the middle of Birmingham. I've been there 1,000 times. Matter of fact, the Birmingham City School System has this Christmas program there. I've been in that place 1,000 times. And after learning that, I stood in there and just imagined what they had to have been like. As a matter of fact, his band was at that particular time, he had some white people in his band, and they made his band play behind the curtain because What they weren't finna have no white people playing for
Oh my God.
yeah. And so, but yeah, man, somewhere in the middle of the show, somebody jumped on stage and started to beat him up real bad, like really,
Oh,
really,
wow.
really bad. Mhm.
Right. Yeah, I remember that very, very well. I was small, but you just wonder what gave these people the gumption to think that they could get up on the stage and beat this man up for just
Yeah.
doing his job.
Meanwhile, meanwhile,
Right.
Nat King Cole sold more records than Frank Sinatra in his day. People
Yes.
don't know that.
Good.
And even, you know, on a international scale, Nat King Cole was the world's first international superstar.
Wow.
He had records in German and Italian and Spanish, and he had a matter of fact, he had a number one hit of Autumn Leaves in Japanese.
Wow.
And this, he was international, world's first international superstar,
Oh wow.
right there from Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah.
And you know, he had his first brother ever have his own television show. Ratings were outstanding, and but the sponsors they wouldn't get behind it. And Nat, you know, for all, and granted we'll get into it, but you know, people had a lot to say about him being maybe not as engaged with the movement, um, which which is a whole conversation of itself. But he made a statement that I thought was quite interesting when they took his show off the air. And so he got on television and he said, "Well, I guess Madison Avenue is afraid of the dark."
Hmm. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
Wow.
Michael,
was
you got a question?
Well, a question and a comment though first. You
Yes, sir.
know, when John, you say that people criticize him for not being maybe as openly or as engaged with the movement as they thought he should have been. When you think about it, he was actually doing what people nowadays are against DEI. In other words, he was a crossover.
Mhm.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. He was
Right.
I
the first
agree.
international. So he
Yes.
was doing what they say we should be
Be
doing.
doing.
And
Yeah.
then they still attacked him.
They
Right.
Okay.
did. You know,
So this is a man that didn't need DEI, but then they attacked him because he didn't need it, so to
Right.
speak.
exactly. Exactly. You know, I love the musical Hamilton. And there's a song in there where the brother sings, "I want to be in the room where it happens."
Yes.
And you know, we don't know what we don't know uh, what it's like to have to what you have to do to walk into certain rooms
That's true.
and to be able to maintain yourself, to be able to handle the pressures of certain rooms, and even knowing, you know, chess is all about when to move what pieces
That's right.
and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember, and not to get too deep into it, but I remember how careful Barack Obama was
Yeah.
when he was kind of in his ascent to the presidency. Um, he was very, very intentional about when he decided to address certain things. And granted, not to get into, you know, all of that, but my point is, there was a lot of criticism from Nat King, from people. Thurgood Marshall, they called him Uncle Nat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they went after him pretty badly. And I mean, who knows what I would have said? I don't know. I know
Right.
though, um, at before Nat King Cole, as a matter of fact, there was what was called the race charts, and so we weren't even really given any type of ratings inside of the actual Billboard charts,
Mm.
and we also were not as a people, acknowledged as people who could even sing what they would call love songs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And Nat King Cole, at the time, there was this radio label by the name of Capitol Records who was struggling and about to close. And so they decided to get behind none other than Nat King Cole. And Nat released simple love songs like, I love you for sentimental reasons. Number one hit. First African American to ever have a love song hit number one. And so his entire life changed the narrative of what the rest of the world had been kind of forced to try to believe about Black people, and so his story, his life was quite remarkable. I mean, quite remarkable on several fronts. I mean, Capitol Records. This is an interesting story too. Capitol Records, and that was releasing all these number one hits. Well, Judy Garland, Frank Sinatra, all those people came over to Capitol Records because of Nat King Cole.
Yes.
Matter of fact, Frank Sinatra said when he got off of work, he'd come home and listen to Nat King Cole. And so, his to your point, he was able to just cross over so big, so well. But here he is now, his daddy, preacher from Montgomery, Alabama.
That's right.
And moved to Chicago when he was very young because with the Great Migration. And so he grew up in Chicago, right there in Montgomery, Alabama.
Yes.
Was where he was born. And he changed the world, changed the narrative. And to you made a point earlier about with Dr. King. It's funny, I didn't thought about it. Both of these brothers got King in their name.
Yeah.
Right. But who are the people who are intentional about making sure that there is a narrative that can't be attached to our people? Like literally, when you see me, whatever false thing you're saying, I literally am evidence that what you're saying is a lie.
Right.
And it is remarkable to see these great men and great women who have throughout the ages, throughout the years, come along and shifted the narrative, not just for them, but for us too, for us to be able to say, oh, wow, then this is what we can do.
Right.
This is what we're capable of. Anyway, so I'm gonna stop talking.
Because I'm going to ask you, I got a question, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we were just talking about Coach Davis. Well, this was a time when at Auburn we had 2 Black football players on the team, and that was it, man. And if that special that was on yesterday, and I grew up in Birmingham. Birmingham's my hometown. I love Birmingham. Blah 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 blah. But man, there was some hate going on in the community. Man, those people were, God, they were horrible, man. They just, the things they would say, the things they would do to children. And I mean, the bomb, and it was just, God Almighty, it was horrible. It was.
Yes.
And I think about it. I think about how my parents, in particular, I don't know, I was going to say our parents, but how they shielded us from that. And I remember we would pass by Fair Park at night. It was lit up, and the carnival and the Ferris wheel was going around. So. And I used to always ask, well, Daddy, why can't we go out there? What we don't have the money. Why can't we go? But, my parents are really good about not, I guess, instilling any hate in us for other people. And I don't remember what they told us as to why we couldn't go, but eventually I found out. So it's interesting, and you talk about Nat King Cole. I remember when they went up on the stage and beat this man up because women were throwing their panties on the stage at this man, and that set it off. That set off a night disturbance.
When you were talking about just growing up in Birmingham, I've had to give quite a few speeches and addresses. I got to do one tomorrow, as a matter of fact, here in Nashville for MLK gathering they're doing. And one of the things that is remarkable to me is that then and even now, like the stakes are so beyond just, they being mean to me.
Yeah.
Or they don't like me. And that's bad. But we talking about life and death.
Right.
We're talking about killing, lynching. We're talking about redlining. We're talking about literally not just rejecting, but people refusing to allow you to be. And another thing happened, Nat King Cole, naturally he made quite a bit of money, and so he wanted to move into a nice house, with his wife and his kids, and he moved into a nice neighborhood. From day one, death threats.
Yes. From
the neighborhood, as if to say, you don't deserve to have nice things. I'm so grateful that and Miss Edwards can attest to this. I grew up at New Pilgrim Baptist Church.
Yes.
Under the pastor of Dr. N.H. Smith, Nelson Henry Smith. And man, Pastor Smith, man, he was his nickname was Fireball.
Fireball, yes.
And even as a child, we were taught about the movement. We were taught about, he was from Monroeville, Alabama, right outside of Selma.
Yes.
We were taught about who we are as a people, and the cost and the people who marched and made sure that we could do the things that we were able to do now. And the older I get, you don't know that what you're experiencing is unique until you see more things.
Right.
And so the older I get, I'm so amazed at how ignorant a lot of people are. Some of it is willingly ignorant because they don't want to know. But some of it is really how much of our history has just been redacted,
right,
and removed and rewritten. You were talking about the woman who just passed away, who was responsible for GPS.
Right.
I mean, and the list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, it's an endless list. I mean, when we look at neighborhoods, oh my gosh, the neighborhoods that were Black neighborhoods that interstates will run through, which is literally right there on Arkadelphia Road, man, right there where we'll kind of said, I'm gonna run this interstate through your neighborhood, said that to Fred Shuttlesworth. And you look and the neighborhoods that are underwater, that are lakes now,
right,
simply because we dared to be great. And so it is remarkable to me to see how we continue to, as Maya Angelou would say, as we rise.
There you go.
We rise, yes.
And so I'm so grateful to be able to tell his story and to just continue to help people remember. Yeah.
Mark, I got a question tell us about Artist Lounge Live.
Oh man. So It's an
That's not a
interesting
smile
story.
to your face.
Well, because I am always I'm always humbled, and I always marvel at how the Lord does a thing, and how we can't take no credit for His favor, and how He does the things. I was I went to school in New York City, um, and there's a much longer, broader, amazing story in all of this that I'm not going to bother you with. But the highlights would be I met a guy named Jake Speck, and we weren't even friends. We knew each other, whatever, and because we had classes and certain things like that, or what have you. And I ended up after doing some time working off Broadway and doing some stuff with New York, I really felt this call to ministry, and so I left. I left New York and moved back home to Birmingham. And in fact, my mom thought I was crazy because I was doing really well, and the Lord had really blessed me, but He really began to talk about ministry. So I turned in my 2 weeks notice at the show I was doing, and I moved back to Birmingham and really just dove into music and ministry and things of that nature. Well, almost 10 years later, um, guy from school, Jake, reached out to me and asked me about doing a show in Nashville, where I actually live now. And long story short, in doing that, it just opened up this whole world of theater for me again. And honestly, I've been working nonstop since then. And Jake introduced me to a friend of his. Jake was in the musical Jersey Boys. And he had a guy that was one of his castmates that had done really well in Jersey Boys and started a thing called Under the Street Lamp that was on PBS and did all these big things. And so he started a thing called Artist Lounge Live, which is basically, he had this idea that basically people really want to not just see a person sing their favorite songs, but ultimately, I ain't gonna never sound like Nat King Cole. It just ain't gonna happen. I ain't gonna ever sound like Stevie Wonder. And at my best efforts, it's still just a counterfeit. You know what I mean?
You come pretty close,
But
though, John Mark.
well, you sweet Miss Barbara, making me blush. But his whole thing was, he was like, but people want to hear, they want to meet new people. So his whole idea, this guy named Michael Ingersoll started it initially for his wife, who has a Judy Garland one, has been nominated for some Emmys and everything like that. And so Michael and Angela Ingersoll, their whole deal is people are going to come because they love the icon, but they'll leave loving the artist. Yes. And so I don't walk out on stage like, hey, I'm Nat King Cole. No, I'm me. I talk about my life, my wife, my kids, my mama, my daddy, and how the Lord has blessed me and all those things. And I talk about Nat King Cole's life as just me. And so the thing I love about the show is it's very honest. And so Michael has about probably 12, 13, 14 or plus shows with everybody from Nat King Cole and to Glenn Campbell to Judy Garland. The list goes on and on and on, of all these individuals who admire certain icons, and they get to go have very honest conversation with the artist about their lives, their history, but also tell their own story. You get to meet, you can find out stuff about Nat, you can find out some things about me, and I get to pay tribute to him without trying to be him. And so Artist Sounds Live is wonderful. He's created a lot of opportunities for me to be able to go and do that. And I'm super grateful for it too, because I work here in Nashville. I work at a church here in Nashville, as a matter of fact, and I love it. And so to be able to still to do theater and to be able to do things like, this is the first time the Alabama Shakespeare Festival has ever done a concert in the history of the entire theater. They've never done a concert before.
Talk about that project you have coming up in Montgomery at the Alabama Shakespeare, the actual dates and how people can get tickets, all of that.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm just super excited to be a part of it. It's going to be a really phenomenal show. It's a show that we've been that I've been doing for about three years now, a little over 3 years. I've done this show close to 100 times now, which is great.
Wow.
I've been able to.
Yes.
I was part of the Broadway series in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, where I did the show. I've done it in Chicago. I've done it quite a few other places in the country. And this particular show that I love, it's it's in Nat King Cole's hometown, which is Montgomery,
Yes.
at this phenomenal theater. As a matter of fact, the festival stage is their big stage. It's a
Yes.
huge theater, and the sound quality is great, um, and it runs from February the 12th through the 15th. You can go to asf.net to get tickets for it, and they're selling really, really, really well. I talked to Michael, who was great, and he was totally on board with this. And I actually was this. Most of my band is out of Chicago, and they fly in from whatever I do and different things. But I wanted some home team advantage, so I was able to. Did we lose Tom?
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
I was able to hire my band out of Birmingham.
Oh, wow. That's
And
great.
so, and some of these guys, and I have to talk about this. So I was a part of a band called the Birmingham Youth Jazz Ensemble,
Mhm.
founded by Jothan Callens.
Yes.
This man changed my life, and the lives of many, many others. He had a heart to make sure that jazz and music education continued to be available in Birmingham, Alabama, and right there, literally around the corner from Tuxedo Junction. He had a place where he would teach us music and teach us jazz. We traveled literally around the world, around the country, around the world. And so two of the people who I was able to bring into this project for this particular one in Montgomery were in the band with me,
Wow.
with Birmingham Youth Jazz Ensemble, a guy named Jabari Brown on bass, and then a guy named Reginald Yarbrough, who's a phenomenal, he's a
Yes.
phenomenal singer, multi-instrumentalist himself. And so, matter of fact, Reggie was the one that helped me put the band together. And it's going to be a really great time, not just doing the music, but even just collabing with those guys. And so, but yeah, so the show though runs from the 12th through the 15th at the theater. It's Valentine's Day weekend, which is great as well. And so,
Yes.
what better time to come hear some love songs? It's just I'm really excited about it. I'm humbled by the opportunity. I feel very responsible for telling his story well and for taking people through his life. And it is a story. It is a journey through his life, and his life is just a remarkable story of a person who was clearly called to do what he did.
Yes.
You can't break them barriers down like that, man, without the Lord being with you. And so
Right.
it was I'm really excited to be able to tell people the story, and then to just share these amazing songs, about 24, 25 songs in total in the show, if not more, as a matter of fact. And everything from LOVE Love, Route 66, Mona Lisa,
Unforgettable.
I mean, just of course the title track, Unforgettable, just it goes on and on and on. So
When is it, John?
it is February 12th through the 15th. Got a show on the Thursday, at Friday, 2 on Saturday, at 2:00 and at 7, and then there's another one on Sunday matinee on the 15th. And so 5 shows. And
Thank you. Best of
I
luck
have
to you. It'd be great. Go ahead, Michael.
I have a
Yes,
question. John, could
Yes,
you
sir.
sing a few lines of one of your favorite Nat King Cole songs? People in the audience like to hear it.
Oh man, you got me on the spot a little bit this morning. Let me see. I love you for sentimental reasons. I hope you do believe me. I'll give you my heart. I love you, and you alone were meant for me. Please give your loving heart to me and say we'll never part.
Awesome.
For a man who was caught off guard, you did pretty good.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, the Bible say, "Be ye ready," huh?
Hey, TG, he's a professional. He wasn't caught off guard.
I know.
Yeah, I got 5 kids, man. I spend my life trying to make sure I don't get caught off guard.
Speaking of your 5 kids, John Mark, you and your beautiful wife Grace, who also sings. I've heard her sing as well. She's beautiful voice,
gosh,
beautiful
does,
talent. You have 5 beautiful children. Have any of them followed in your footsteps? Are they also involved in music and interested in music?
Oh gosh, man, get emotional just thinking about it. They love music. They all sing, play. They all play instruments and sing. As a matter of fact, every night from the time, gosh, Daniel was just a couple weeks old, I came in the room one night and Grace was singing a hymn to him and I joined her. And then we started doing it literally every night. And that has grown into every night before bedtime. We all sing and pray together.
Oh, wow.
So we play 2 or 3 songs and hymns, and the kids all play their instruments, and we all play together and sing, and they all know how to harmonize and everything. My kids are currently 14, 12, 11, 10. No, I'm sorry. 14, 12, 11, 9, and 8.
Wow.
And so 2 boys, 3 girls, Daniel, Hannah, Faith, William, and Olivia. And they are just they love music and they love to sing and play and write and all of that. And it's just not to get religious, but I am amazed by God's goodness every day. I wake up in awe of his grace and his mercy. And I look at my kids and my wife, and then I think about all of my dumb decisions throughout the years and how the Lord just kept me. And I'm one grateful guy, I tell you that.
Good deal.
Well, we're so very proud of you, John Mark. You've done exceptionally well. Thank you.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Thank y'all so much for letting me come on and spend some time with y'all this morning.
We look forward to seeing you again, and maybe we'll get to the Shakespeare Festival. And I've never been to the Shakespeare Festival. All the time I've lived in Birmingham, I've never been there.
It's a beautiful facility, Tom. You have to go.
It is. It's remarkable.
Phenomenal.
It is really. It is a very unique gym. People from all over the country come to it and work. I mean, they bring a lot of Broadway stars because it is a phenomenal theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds great, man. Man, thank you so much. Anything else, John, you want to give us before you leave?
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for keeping I just want to thank y'all so much for what you do, for making sure that there's always healthy and informative conversation. We need it. We need it so badly. As I talked about earlier, there's so much ignorance. And so I just appreciate you all for continue to make sure that we as a community have a place to come and hear thoughtful conversations about what's going on in the world around us, and how we as a community can engage properly with those things. So I thank y'all so much, and I appreciate the work you do.
We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, man.
Thanks, man. See you.
My closing comment for today, or as I see it, bigger and bigger the gap is growing between what is truth and what's a lie, and what is outright racism or lack of integrity that's occurring on our college campuses and corporate boardrooms. The current administration comes up with some threatening notion or in some cases, a silly quiz, denying DEI, and professors and university administrators run for cover. And silently and secretly, they whisper to each other how stupid, silly, and chicken shit all this have become. But they can't say it out loud because they cannot give praise to individuals like Dr. King or to a program like DEI. We were riding out of the county the other day, and there's a sign when you go from Florida to Alabama, and it says, "Welcome to the free state of Florida." And I had to ask my wife, what the hell is a free state? And it's something that the governor here, it's not my governor, he is the governor, has come up with. And it's just amazing how they continue to come up with this stuff to keep from people knowing the truth about Dr. King, about civil rights movement, about things that have happened in our country. You know, if you go back to 1948, Ed Sullivan shook Nat King Cole's hand on live television and how big a deal that was. He shook a man's hand, and the sponsors decided they didn't want anything more to do with him. I'd like to acknowledge my mom, who passed away 25 years ago. And I'd like to recognize her on the occasion of my birthday, which is tomorrow. And I recognize my mom on my birthday because my mom always made our birthdays special. She would, in my case, up until she died, she would bake me this chocolate cake with pecans in it, and it was just absolutely awesome, and I loved it. And she was so sick on my birthday before she died, that she couldn't do it. And she did do it in April, which was 4 months after my birthday, because she wanted me to have that cake. She wanted it to be special for my birthday. So, yeah, I'm thankful for my birthday. I'm also thankful for Emily and Sean's birthday, but just for the life we've been able to live. And thanks to John Mark McGaha and for everybody who has come on the show, all of our guests who give us information. And that's what this is about. It's about information. We're not trying to show anybody up or anything like that. So anyway, that's our show for today. Thank you so much. We thank the audience. As always, we appreciate you. Thank our G-list guest, John Mark McGaha. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, Joyce, and as always, a special thanks to the audience. And that's it for this January the 20th. I had to check, in the year 2026. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Blessings and peace.